Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Cinnamon Stitches. I am your yarn host Jennifer and today is Friday, and on Friday we show yarn porn. Alright, so now I have known for a while this yarn was coming out. There's two different kinds here. I went to Joann's, as little man likes to call it, Joann's. And I wanted to try some of the new yarns that they were releasing, and a couple of people in the Facebook group was like, hey, did you know Joann's is coming out with a new yarn? And I was like, no, but we're gonna research it. So they have actually quite a few new things on these two lines. They have not only fabric in these brands, but they also have yarn in these brands. But I do not need any more fabric because I have a huge stash of fabric and I have not been using it. So I'm just gonna hold off buying fabric for a very long time. Now, these both kind of make me think back to the 90s, and you'll see why. You have probably seen these yarns in videos because I have been noticing there are a lot of podcasters that are rushing to be the first person to show a new yarn when it comes out, and I'm not into that. I'm not into competition. I'm not into being competitive and being the first to show you anything. I'm like, hey, when we get around to reviewing it, we get around to reviewing it. And a lot of you wait for my opinion, and I totally appreciate that. Now, Eddie Bauer is the first brand, okay? Now, when I was a little kid, I was a little poor kid in the ghetto, okay? The only thing I have ever known about Eddie Bauer, and even today I'm like, who is Eddie Bauer? The only thing I know is my my uncle, the one who locked me in the coffin when I was little, if you remember that story. He is my he's my mom's sister's husband. Okay, so he's not a birth uncle, he is a uncle by marriage, and he wasn't even my uncle when he locked me in the coffin. He came from what we called rich people. So his dad, his mom and dad were what we considered rich. Now I see things differently as an adult, but when you're a little kid in the ghetto, I just thought they were rich. Okay, he worked for Ford. He was like an executive for Ford, and his wife worked at a doctor's office, and they just had money. They had a second house. They had nice cars. And what I knew of Eddie Bauer was they had a Ford Explorer Eddie Bauer edition or something like that. I don't know. I was like 8 years old. And I don't know why it was the Eddie Bauer edition. I just knew it had power everything, and they bragged about their car, okay? That is my extent and knowledge of Eddie Bauer. That's why it makes me think back to like the 90s, because like that's when I learned of Eddie Bauer and what Eddie Bauer, that I just knew Eddie Bauer's for rich people, okay? And obviously as an adult, I see things a lot differently. So I'm going to look up who is Eddie Bauer right now so we can just educate all of us, okay? Because I'm sure there are some of you that's like, who is Eddie Bauer? Who is Eddie Bauer? All right. What is Eddie Bauer? So Eddie Bauer is premium outdoor gear, according to eddiebauer.com. Eddie Bauer has made apparel, footwear, and gear to inspire and enable you to live your adventure. Is Eddie Bauer considered high-end? It is a mid-level brand aimed at the crowd that needs to stay warm and look good. No need to climb mountains to wear the brand. It's perfect for companies who want a professional business casual look and feel. Okay, so now you know, is Eddie Bauer worth the price? The apparel is definitely worth the price. These are all questions that are on Google. Why is Eddie Bauer so popular? With its roots in mountaineering gear, the brand is well versed in the art of cold weather apparel, which is so strange that was the high-end version of the Ford Expedition or Explorer or whatever it was. And the people that bought it were not particularly outdoorsy. So, with that, that is all we need to know about Eddie Bauer. Eddie Bauer has released fabrics and now yarn for Joann's. Do I have a price tag? No, because I ordered it and picked it up in store. So I got to go back to my email. Let's see, Joann's. Joann order. Let's see if I can find the email. Oh, I'm in the wrong email account. That's why. Joann order. So Eddie Bauer actually has two kinds of the Eddie Bauer yarn. They have a really thick one. Now when I went to Joann, they did not have, oh yeah, I got these all on sale. So they are regularly $5.99 for this one. They also have a really fat, thick one that looks like really giant, according to the website, which is what I saw. A really fat, like, blanket yarn, which I'm not interested in. I don't like blanket yarn. I don't like the way it feels. It didn't look like something I wanted. So I went to Joann's looking for the Juicy Couture yarn, which we're also going to talk about, and the Eddie Bauer yarn. And we're looking around, and Mr. Cinnamon is looking through boxes because they had just got a shipment in. There was boxes all over the floor inside the store. And so I had did a once over, and then he was going back through. And they also had boxes on the top of the shelves. Well, he's tall enough to see the boxes, so he was pulling them down looking. And a worker got mad at him and started to scold him. And so I heard him being scolded, so I came around the corner before he yelled at her. Let's be real. And so I came around the corner, and I was like, she's all, can I help you? I was like, yeah, I'm looking for the new Juicy Couture and the new Eddie Bauer yarn. And she's all, well, we didn't get any on the we didn't get any in the truck, which was a lie. It said on the app that it was in stock, and that means that it came in on the truck, right? And so I was like, okay, well, because your app says that it's in, and I'm friendly. I'm super friendly because I don't want to, like, make them mad and have issues where they don't want me in the store or film me in the store, or they don't let me look through the boxes. You know, be friendly with your local people. They will sometimes let you get away with stuff. So I was like, okay, well, you know, whatever. She had checked out already. She took off her smock. She was done for the day. So I understand she didn't want to deal with us. Like, okay, well, you should have just walked by and pretended you didn't see us looking in the boxes. Like, it would have been fine, right? So she's all, it didn't come in on the truck, but we got another truck coming in the morning. I was like, this is good information, because it was towards the evening. And if there's another truck coming in tomorrow and it's in the app saying it's in stock, that means either it's still in the back with the other boxes, or it's on the next truck that's coming in. And if I order it tonight on the app, I can pick it up tomorrow. So I ordered it. And we bought a couple other things, which I will show you in a different video because that's clearance yarn. I picked up a couple of things, and I went to the cashier. I went to the checkout. And so when I went to the checkout to check out, this worker comes back up. Now, she's off work. She didn't have to do anything further. I was fine. But I did mention that I had a YouTube, and I was looking for this yarn for a YouTube review, and that kind of changed the way she was talking to me a lot. Now, sometimes this is not a good thing, because sometimes people be like, I don't care, who do you think you are? I don't care about YouTube. And they would cop an attitude with you. But no, she was either impressed or she just wanted to make a good impression. I don't know. She went back and looked, and she went back and looked. She's all, actually, I did find some of that yarn back there. Is there a certain color you wanted of the Eddie Bauer yarn? And I was like, well, I already ordered some. She's all, well, what color, so I can make sure we have it? I was like, the color Scarlet, because that's my dog's name. So I picked this color because it's my dog's name, Scarlet. So she's all, we do have that back there, so you're good. I was like, all right, well, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll be back. So she did affirm to me that the yarn was, in fact, at least the Eddie Bauer was back there. So it said they had 6 in stock of the Juicy Couture. So I was like, okay, well, I need some Juicy Couture as well, because it's pink and it's sparkly. And I kind of want to make myself a cute little rug for in here, or on my side table on my bed. Like, I just need a cute little pink rug. Because this looked way fatter online than what it actually is. So we're going to talk about that as well. They didn't have 6 in stock. They only had 5, so they had to cancel one of the balls, which I'm fine with. So the next morning I come out, right, and I see the truck in the dock at the back of Joann's. And I'm like, well, we know that the truck came, and the lady came out, and she handed me it was a different lady, but the lady that came out is I believe the manager, because I've seen her all the time. I've talked with her several times, and she comes out and she's all, we had to cancel just one of your balls of yarn because it wasn't on the truck, but we found the rest on the truck for you. And I was like, thank you. So they actually had to go out onto the truck to fill my order for the Juicy Couture, which I was more than happy for. So, and it worked out. And apparently I have a $5 off of $10 or more purchase coupon. So we'll keep that because we will use that. All right, now I wanted to talk to you about both of these yarns, and this brings me back to the 90s because of said rich people and their truck, okay? With a Juicy Couture, like where I grew up, Juicy Couture was the thing, okay? All of the girls with big booties had velour pink pants that said Juicy on the butt. All the girls, right? It was just a thing, especially in my neighborhood. And so I had to get these. I've never owned a pair of Juicy Couture anythings because it just wasn't my thing, but like I kind of needed this yarn because it's pink and sparkly. Not so much the name brand, but it's pink and sparkly. You see that? So what my idea is to make a rug with this, but to back the rug, so I want a 2-layer thick rug. So one half is going to be, and I'm thinking like ovular or circular. The top side is going to be this real pretty sparkly pink yarn, but for sturdiness and stiffness, I'm going to do a chunkier, hardier, thicker, stiffer yarn for the bottom so that it will be actually 2 layers on top and then just sew the layers together. That is my idea. I hope it will work out. We're going to wait and see what happens. But I want the bottom layer to be like a pastel pink. So I need to find a thick, sturdy, I'm thinking like a 5-weight or above pastel pink yarn. And I don't want a real big rug because I only got 5 balls. So I got to research that. That's my idea for the Juicy Couture. All right, so this is Eddie Bauer Cozy Camp. It is 100% recycled acrylic. It feels like wool. It feels like wool. Had I felt this in the store, I would not have bought it because I don't like the way it feels. It feels like wool, and as a matter of fact, it kind of feels like the recycled yarn from Lion Brand. Let me see if this sheds like the Lion Brand yarn. No. Hold that thought, because I got my Lion Brand yarn right here. And I'm fairly confident it should be in here somewhere. Let's see, there it is. Alright, so, oh, this is polyester. Alright, so it reminds me of the respun yarn from Lion Brand. It's actually softer slightly. I don't know if it's softer, it just has a different, this feels hairy. The recycled polyester respun feels hairy. This just feels woolly. So this feels like this would have alpaca in it, which sheds, that sheds. This one doesn't seem like it's shedding. And this, I think, would make a fantastic full wool hat set for either donations or, because it feels, and I don't hate wool. I don't mind working with wool. I like fibers in my throat. I like working with the yarn that is kind of has the stiff toothiness of wool. And this is not wool, it's acrylic. I like the way that feels when it works out. It makes really cool hats. I don't know if I would be able to wear this, but I think this would make really nice donation items. It's pretty, it's just not soft. It's not soft. It's 229 yards, it is machine washable, do not iron, do not bleach, do not tumble dry, dry flat. So maybe not for, well, a homeless person is not going to take it to the washer, to the dryer, right? So it might be good for like a homeless person. That kind of donations, but like other than that, I don't think I would really use this. Please purchase a significant quantity of one dye lot to ensure uniformity. Like I said, this is the color Scarlet. I might turn the camera around and do a swatch just to see what that feels like worked up. As a matter of fact, we probably will do that. We'll do that. And of course, we got the Juicy Couture, which is 98% polyester, 2% metallic. And the metallic, a lot of the yarns that are like this that have the sparkles in it, it's not a thread that runs through. Instead, it's like bits of sparkle fed in with the bits of fur. You see how that is? And it makes it so that you can't really feel the sparkle at all. It just feels like velvet yarn. This is Luxe Velour Sparkle. They do have the same colorways in non-sparkle, so just look for the sparkle or non-sparkle depending on what your tastes are. It says it's a chunky 5, machine wash, cold, dry, flat, do not bleach, do not iron, do not dry clean. So, made in Vietnam. Where is this one made? Made in Turkey. So, yeah, this is just your basic. If you have ever worked with velour yarn or like this reminds me of the Parfait a lot. Matter of fact, do I have any Parfait? Let me grab a Parfait. Oh, it's not like the chenille. So this is the Parfait Pom Pom, so it's slightly different in the fact that it's got the little pops of color. Let's see. Parfait, Juicy, Couture. With the exception of the glitter versus the Pom Pom, they're the same thickness. They're about the same fluffiness, softness. Yeah. So if you've ever used the Parfait, same deal. Same deal. Alright, now let's clear off my desk. Like I said, I bought 5 of those. I wanted 6, but they didn't have the 6th. And I do kind of want to go up north to the big Joann's and see what they have and maybe video. Because I do want to check out the bigger version of the Eddie Bauer. Let's see. I'm going to open my Joann's app real quick. And I'm going to see. So, let's see. Eddie Bauer yarn. No, that's fabrics. Yarn. So this one is regularly $5.99 as of the recording of this video. It's on sale for $4.79, but they also have something called Fireside Jumbo, which is regularly $9.99. It's on sale for $7.99. Let's pick a different color that you can actually see. And it looks like fat blanket yarn. And it looks like Bernat blanket yarn style yarn. It says plush yarn is a chenille style yarn. So it might not be like the Bernat, but it's recycled as well. It comes in 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11 colors. And I would like to essentially feel it to get an idea before I talk about it. But it says it's a recycled polyester, 100% recycled polyester. I'm trying to see, it doesn't really say what the thickness is. It just says jumbo. Jumbo. So, let's turn the camera around and we'll work up a little swatch of the Eddie Bauer Cozy Camp. Alright, we are down on the table. So, let's see if we can find a piece from the middle. Now, I'm just going to crochet up a swatch. I'm not actually going to knit up a swatch today. Because I just want to get an idea of what this feels like in my hand. What is recommended hook size? 6mm. I got way too small of a hook. Oh, we got a 5.5. That'll do. That'll do. Yeah, it's a little scratchy in between my fingers, but keep in mind, I have skin condition issues, I have sensitivities, I have all kinds of issues with my skin, and I have sensory problems. So, you may love this. If you like the feel of woolly yarn, you're probably gonna love this. This gives you, this is as close to what I would call a faux wool as you can get. Some acrylics are acrylics on their own. They stand alone. They are not trying to be anything other than acrylic yarn, and some acrylics are really soft. Some acrylics, however, like this one, feels like it's trying to be wool. And I'm fine with that. I'm absolutely fine with that, because there's people that like the idea of wool. They like the feel of wool, but they can't use wool for whatever reason. Allergies, whatever. This would be good as a wool substitute in a pattern that you want to be woolly. Do I love it? No. Do I think this will make a beautiful hat? Yeah. Am I probably going to make a hat out of it? Yep. It definitely feels like it's wool, or wants to be wool, without the woolly allergens. It's not splitty. It works up really nice on my hook. I'm not struggling at all with working it up. This wool reminds me of my mother's dad, my grandpa that lived down the street from me but wasn't really a grandpa. It reminds me of him because he used to always wear red flannel shirts. Always. Winter, summer, didn't matter. That reminds me of him a lot. And I swear that man was supposed to be a farmer and ended up being an electrician instead. Because he had pheasants, he had rabbits, he had geese, he had all kinds of really beautiful chickens. He collected the fancy birds, not like your basic chickens. Like, he had to have the fancy ones. And they always had a vegetable garden in the backyard, in the middle of the ghetto. Like, he didn't care. Alright, so that's what it looks like. It has decent stitch definition. I mean, the stitches kind of blend into each other because the yarn is like kind of plump. Trying to determine whether it feels better worked up, because sometimes it feels worse in the ball or better in the ball. Let's just see if this irritates my skin. And let's see if I turn red. Doesn't look like I'm turning red. And it doesn't feel like particularly itchy. Now I'm going to rub it on my face and see. Actually, I'm going to hold it to my forehead. Yeah, it doesn't irritate my skin. So I probably would be able to wear something warm with this in the wintertime. I like the coloring, how it's it's like red, but it's like speckly red, like a heathered red. I really like that. It doesn't feel real good in the ball. It's kind of rough. It doesn't feel horrible worked up though, and I think I could wear this as a hat or as mittens. Or even like a sweater if I had clothes on underneath a sweater. I think this might bother me around my neck. Although I'm rubbing it on my neck and it doesn't feel like anything. It just feels like acrylic. To my neck anyway. So, if you don't have skin problems, you might like this yarn. If you like woolly yarns, you might like this yarn. It's not terrible. It's not a horrible price either, because it is, the recycled yarns tend to be a little more expensive. Don't know why, but they are. So yeah, that's not bad. That I can see this making really nice winter things if you live in a cold climate. So that is it for today, guys. Go ahead and check out Joann's. I am not affiliated with Joann's. Joann's doesn't care who I am. I just like trying new yarns when they come on the market. I definitely really like the Juicy Couture if you like chenille style yarns. If you don't like chenille style yarns, you're not going to like this. It's going to have some of the same faults that the Parfait has, where you could have worming, or it tends to peel at the edges. What did I do with it? I just put it down somewhere else. You guys see where I put it? There it is. It's behind me. So with Parfait yarn, not Parfait, with this type of yarn, and actually, you guys want me to work up a swatch while I'm sitting here? It ain't gonna hurt me. And I'll give you an idea of what this looks like, works up like. But one of the downfalls of this chenille style yarn is, first things, when you're trying to weave in your ends, this happens. Ooh, wow, what? Was it really not falling apart? What? Alright, let me pull out the Parfait from Premier Yarns, because that's blew my mind right now. Try to find an end. Can't find the end. One of the things I don't like about the Premier Yarns Parfait is the ends. When you go to weave in the ends, this happens. So it's really frustrating trying to, you see that? Look at this. This is the Juicy Couture. I'm really trying. Okay, points for Juicy Couture. Never mind what I was going to say, because that is usually a problem that I struggle with this type of yarn. Alright. I don't know what is happening over in, where did I say this was from? Vietnam? But they're doing something right with their yarn, because that don't want to peel apart at all. That is insane. My mind is so blown right now. I'm so glad I did this. Alright. So another thing that you definitely have to work with this type of yarn, and I will show you. One of the things with this yarn, it's hard to see the stitches, so you're going to want to, you're going to need to feel for your stitches a lot of times. So you can't really see where the hole is, but you can feel where the hole is. And to some people, it is not worth the effort for them to work with this kind of yarn. Me, I don't really have a problem using this kind of yarn. I never have. And if it becomes a problem where I can't figure out where the hole is, I go up a hook size. Sometimes I go up a lot in the hook size and just make a drapier project. This yarn is very soft and floppy feeling, so you're not going to make a stiff product with this, although you can also make amigurumi with this. Just use a much smaller hook and it makes beautiful amigurumi. Another problem, this yarn, if you throw it in the washer and dryer, which you're not supposed to do, and this happens more with, I'm showing you double crochets because this happens more often with double crochets than any other stitch. When doing this type of velour velvet yarn, I always suggest doing singles or half double crochets. Don't do doubles, because something called worming happens, and it happens more often with taller or bigger or fancier stitches. And so that is when you do these taller stitches, I will show you exactly what worming is. That's why we're doing double crochets right here. Okay, see how you got it all? It's beautiful, it's done. But sometimes with these taller stitches, you will get something called worming. And that's worming. From wear and tear, from washing it, from just whatever, the stitches do that. And there's not really a way to fix it. I mean, you can try and stretch it, but a lot of times it's just done. What's done is done, and it worms, and it is a pain in the neck. So that's why I don't suggest doing half double or double crochets with this yarn. Do smaller stitches because there's not as much yarn in there to worm out. See? So those are my tips for working with this type of yarn. And the fact that the end didn't fall apart on me has me so impressed even now. I cannot wait to make my rug out of this. And it's going to all be probably single crochets or half doubles because that's what I prefer to use with this type of yarn. This would make like a cute little sweater or like the trim on a sweater if you want to be extra. And I'm thinking for like little girls, but like big girls can wear this too. I'm just saying. You want to make yourself a Juicy Couture sweater, you just go right ahead and do that. Don't let nobody tell you any different. It's got beautiful sparkle in it. And even as I'm working it right now, like it's twinkling. It is twinkling. And I know you guys can't see it because it's on camera, but it is twinkling. You see that? So, if you love Juicy Couture in the 90s or the 2000s, you will like this yarn. Or if you like velvet and sparkle yarns, you will like this yarn. Just keep in mind that this yarn does have some limitations with it. Do small stitches. You may need to use a bigger hook so you can see where the stitches are. But see, you can kind of see where the stitches are. There's one there and one there. But if you're not good with stitch recognition, you're going to have trouble. You're going to have to feel along for the next hole. And this yarn recommends 6.5 millimeter, and I'm using a 5.5 millimeter hook. So if you use a 6.5 millimeter hook, you will have a softer, floppier fabric. But I like sometimes using a smaller hook with this yarn because it gives it a little more stiffness. Not stiffness, but like structure to it. Look at the way the light is bouncing off of that. Not just the sparkles, but the difference between like the way velvet has like a dark side and a light side. You see that? This is just pretty. It's so pretty. So I will be making a little rug for myself in the future. So check out the new yarns from Joann's. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.